Well done to the local community for that fitting tribute. Obviously, Hardeep Singh Nijjar is a name that has been on our lips, since that dreadful incident happened. I mean, we've talked about it regularly, and his martyrdom has stood testament to an enormous, I would say almost global movement now. That it really was the polarising incident that has focused the world's attention on what actually is going on with this whole big story of not just Khalistan but India itself. And we must always remember that these tributes, these memorials like this, do have two purposes. First, of course, is to indeed memorialise the individual himself. Hardeep Singh Nijjar clearly was a pillar of his community. He did a lot of good work and highly respected, and likewise a very justifiable memorial to his memory. But of course it serves another purpose. It is a very public memorial, which means that the public walk past this and see it and ask questions. What is this about? Who was Hardeep Singh Nijjar? What did he stand for? Why was he killed? And this is where it really has a very, I would say, almost disproportionately positive impact in a community, because it does raise awareness of the whole issue. And this is exactly what this does. And it is raising awareness locally and, of course, even internationally now, what Hardeep Singh Nijjar stood for. He stood for Sikhi and all the goodness of the Sikh religion, but he also stood for Khalistan and this whole movement about Khalistan, which in itself is now raising this whole issue globally. And as we've talked on many occasions, how the international community is now turning its attention on the big question: what on earth is Khalistan? What is it about? And why was this gentleman, Hardeep Singh Nijjar, murdered by a government in India? It seems people are shaking their heads in disbelief. Why would India, its Indian government, murder somebody, a Canadian citizen, on Canadian soil? So they are asking these questions and they're finding out the answers, and that's what it's all about. So, and I think it's very encouraging. Very sad, obviously, what happened to Hardeep Singh Nijjar, but his legacy, I think, is extremely powerful, extremely potent, and I think his legacy is having a huge impact internationally. It's even, of course, even been raised by the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, which in turn has meant that his issue has now been discussed around the world, and indeed even in India itself. So it is making people ask these questions.